In July 2005, 25 Tlingit, Haida and Tsimshian elders gathered in Juneau, Alaska to speak and listen and meet with one another, to tell stories about their lives, their clans, their nations, and their land. Stories about embracing family and community wellness. The year before, these same elders had met to agree upon a common set of traditional tribal values. Those values were then taken to the 69th Annual Delegates Assembly of the tribe and unanimously adopted. They are as follows: discipline and obedience to the traditions of our ancestors, respect for self, elders, and others, respect for nature and property, patience. Pride in family, clan, and traditions is found in love, loyalty, and generosity. Be strong in mind, body, and spirit. Humor. Hold each other up. Listen well and with respect. Speak with care. We are stewards of the air, land, and sea. Reverence for our Creator. Live in peace and harmony. Be strong and have courage. These are the stories they told.
My name is Charles Jimmy Sr. I hail from Yakutat. That's where I was born. But my grandparents, my father's side, come from 10 miles up the river at Chilkat River. So I got, half of my blood goes into both ways. And I just wanted to say that being in Haines is the most wonderful place that I grew up. I met a lot of things. That's where I start to vision everything. I noticed everything as a little boy traveling there. I wanted to tell you just a little thing about when I first got to Haines, 1936, I guess it was, 37, somewhere around there. We came on a steamer there, I believe, up to Haines from Yakutat. And I was down there by the Raven House, down there at that house right by it there. And as a little boy, what's all that? You're noticing everything. Different noise you never heard before, Being in Yakutat, I've never seen a lot of things, All I seen was seagulls, grass and fish and bears and, things like that. Nothing but water, salt water. So. And I noticed those things, and I could hear a funny noise. It's sun shining like day before yesterday, I guess it was, and I could hear it. I couldn't figure out what it was. I could hear it across there was no wind, but you could echo, across from the post to the village, in Haines, and I could hear that noise, funny noise. So I decided I better go check it out, Being a little boy, you had to check out everything, And I went over there. Started walking across there. It's almost about a mile, I guess, or better. And I went over there to the post there, to the building. I could hear it. Then I seen it, I guess my eyes must have been this big, I didn't know what it was. It was making all kinds of funny noise, And I came up a little closer and I looked, and really checking. I guess I was getting educated then, Well, I went there, and you know what I was watching, what I was seeing? You got to guess? The guess is that it is one of these jackasses, And there were some horses there, see. They're the ones that the mules. Those mules were making all kinds of funny noise. I'd never seen any before in my life. I didn't know what I was up against. all I used to see was grass, mosquitoes, and ocean, you know, and fish, and brown bear over there, and sea duck, you know. And I looked at it, I had to look at it. Holy smokes. I guess I must have been there a half hour or so. I hear some more noise. Couldn't figure that out either, the way it was breathing, you know. And so I started walking up the hill there, just a little ways. There's a road that goes up to the post, to the parade ground, see? And I was on a corner over here, and they're marching around here. It's hot like today, and you know, they were wearing these wool, you know, brown wool, and that's pretty hot and itchy. And they're marching around there, you know, all over there outside. I must have stood there a half hour or so. And I finally I better get home, I guess. I started walking home. It took me a little while. Then my mother says, "Where did you go? Where you been?" "Oh, I was on the other side over there. I was watching what those things were making funny noises, you know. I didn't know what they were." Oh, she said, okay. And when I left there, you know, I was so flabbergasted, you know. I said, "I've got to go to sleep, Mother. I'm tired. I'll tell you all the details when I wake up, you know." At least I said that, I guess. I went right to bed. Next day I forgot about it. But those things, you know, when you first come into a place, a little boy gets inquisitive, you know, trying to figure out what's what. But, you know, about the Swale John is something that I treasure very much, because it's where my mother comes from, where she was born, see, was where the raven and the whale, see. All right, this is when the world was just being fixed, see. Everything was coming to life, you know. The fish. He was flying around up there out in the ocean, you know, in the Gulf of Alaska, checking out things, you know, how it looked. Gee, I did a good job here. You know, things like that he was investigating. And all of a sudden, he got startled. Gee, what is that? Did I fix that? Did I make that animal like that? "I better get a closer look," he says. "I better get a little closer look." So he flew down and started gliding around down there. And then all of a sudden, came up underneath him and swallowed the raven, see. And the raven didn't know what to do, you know. Gee, the pitch dark in there, except for one little spot. There was a little light coming in some way, you know. And he was in there. He was getting pretty hungry. He got kind of hungry, you know, and having no water, he couldn't drink the salt water, because, you know, it made it worse. And so he decided, well, I better start eating anyway. He started eating things, you know. And before you know it, every once in a while, you know, the tide's coming in and the whales. He killed it by eating it, see, cutting out the heart and stuff, you know. And he woke up. He was rolling around on the floor there. See the waves, the tide change started to come up, and the whale was rolling, see. And he couldn't figure out. Then when it rolled, he seen that light a little bit better, you know. By gosh, I better examine that, he figured. So he kind of squeezed in there, and he could see it. First thing he noticed was that bright thing, you know. And he looked, and he couldn't get his head in there. He finally started eating some more there. Then he finally got his head in there, out in it, you know, just enough to see. And the way he first came up, he looked out to the ocean, see, Gulf, and he could see nothing but water, seagulls, a little bit of sand, a little bit of grass down there, and He looked at it, gee, I wonder where I'm at. I better look some more. He went down and he turned around, and he pulled it down so he could see further. And he could see that it's white, bright, shiny, the sun was shining on it, And he couldn't figure out what that was either, even though he made everything in the world, see. So, oh, gosh sakes, that looks like a long ways, though. I better take some lunch, he says. So he went down. He went down there and cut the heart out. He pushed that out, something else. Then he finally got out. He he grabbed it and started eating a little bit. Well, I better get going now. Time's getting short. You know how everybody wants to make money right away, I guess. So they start flying in toward it, And it started to get a little closer. And after he flew a little ways, the heart is too big, Raven's, powerful, but he's a little bit weaker than that. So he just dropped it there. I'll come back and get it later, he says. And then he flew in. It is more stronger to go up there and get that ice cream off of St. Elias, and those big mountains had a lot of snow and ice on them and looked like ice cream cone. And he was dry. That's where he was driving himself to go get it. See, and so he left the heart there, and down the beach there, the whale was down there too. See, and when he came, he went up. He got the ice cream, and then when he came back, I guess I'll just leave everything in order. So he took off. And to this day, you go to Dry Bay River. You go up by the mouth of the river where that heart fell down, not in the grass, and there was nothing but sand, grass, mosquitoes, brown bear, and fish there. See, and so so he had all that company there. So he decided, well, okay. Geez, I forgot what I was going to say. Well, anyway, he ate that, and then to this day you go down there and you'll see the whale down there. It's hard, it's a rock, but at the time it is a whale. See, and that's the reason why they tell the story, so you could go down there and look, see, and check it out for yourself. And you go down by the water, miles and miles of sand on both sides of the ocean, and there layers that whale, a rock that looks just like the whale, see. And that is the story of that, and that is where my mother uses that on our backs, and when we're dancing, like on my shirt that I have over here, it's got the raven and the whale, see. And that's where the raven and the whale comes from, see, under that. And I thought I'd just share that with you, because every time I tell the story, it kind of reminds me of my mother, the way she was kind of always in charge, but that is okay too. I guess because I was mother's pet, huh? Tom. But I just thought I'd share that story with you because it's from my mother's side, see, and I really enjoyed when I tell that story. Thank you for letting me tell it, and thank you everyone for just listening to me. But there's one other little thing, it's a little short story I want to tell you. Let's see if I can remember. Everybody heard of Kustaka, huh? You know what a Kustaka? You ever see any? Huh? I have. Can anybody say they've really seen it? Gee, you guys don't know what you're missing. By seeing it, you see these land otter right on the beach sometimes in the water, on the rocks, eating. Well, that's who we see. See, he is the land otter, and he's the one that turned into a man, see. He's the one that tricks you too, also, they say. My grandfather, Jimmy Marks, we fished with him a long time, I fished with him when I was a boy. And a lot of times when I got left out and He says, Dad took the boat. Chani. Instead of Charlie, it's Chani. He said, Chani, don't say nothing. Don't get excited. He says, I take it. We go out together. They took the boat out to go halibut fishing out there, see. And I came in too late, and even though I was the pet, he didn't want to fire anybody to put me on. So he says, oh, you go with me. You go with me, Johnny. We took his power skiff at T Harbor, Ock Bay, and we had skates there, the halibut skates, and we set it out, just me and him, And, I had to work hard. He just sat there and coiled the coil, and I had to pull up the thing, hook it, and hit it, and pull it aboard, and he'd be telling me stories. But, when we came in, and when the halibut season was over, I beat those guys with about maybe $400, I guess, because we got paid cash every day, and there were just two of us, no overhead. The gas wasn't, you didn't have to pay very much. And home is right there in Douglas. But those things, Jimmy was quite the deal, and he used to tell a lot of good stories. And there's one more little thing, too, that I wanted to say is people say that wolf, they're dangerous. But they say he won't attack the human. Have you heard that? But they do, though, Times gets hard enough, Anything will give way and attack you. And Jimmy, we're trapping up at the Dixon Harbor, just on the other side of Cape Spencer. They're going toward Yakutat. And he went across the bay there to say this is the flats, and the river come down this way and then over that way, and then say that's the water, and we're over here anchored, see. And he was coming from across where Tommy's at, coming across this way, and both sides, this is like a little island, there's a tree there like that sticking out, with the roots sway kind of high up, and he was just coming across it. He had his snowshoes on, and it's about this deep, I guess, somewhere where you could sink in, and it kind of slows you up. And here they start, whoa. They start running toward him. They smell him, fresh meat, and he started coming this way, and he was coming this way, and he knew he was going to be cut off. So he kicked off his snowshoes. Then he could run a little faster because it got thinner there. And as soon as he got up on the roots of the tree, he came up. He grabbed his 6-gun, he had 6-gun then, and then he got 2, 3, 4 dogs there, and the other one they took off, see. But that's the way, the people say, the experts say, oh, he won't attack you. But by God, he was attacking my grandfather that time, but he was a little bit pretty good at that 6-shot gun, cowboy. Now you got there, check. That's the one, you got it tied right here, that 6-gun, And that's the way he proved him wrong, and he was a good shot. And I just thought I'd share that with you because I enjoy telling it, because if anything happened like that, I'd be the proudest man too if I succeeded like shooting it like that.
Alisaya King Andas Lukunana Digula Digwa Waginanu Yadas Kitalun Kilkana Digula Digwa Yahualihi I Yahualihi 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 Yahualihi